Good morning, students. My name is BECE. Today we'll be looking at a subject called biology, and I will be looking at a topic known as transport system. But before we go ahead, let us look at some of the objectives. At the end of this class, everyone should be able to define what the transport system is in living organisms. Then number two, you should be able to enumerate or mention some of the need for transportation. Number three, what are the materials and media of transportation in living organisms? Then blood and their vessels. Vessels are those materials that transport this blood system. Then number three, the last one, explain the circulatory system. Everyone should be able to give a brief explanation about the circulatory system in man. So get your pen, get your book, your notepad. I'll be right back. Welcome back. All right. So we said transportation in, and by the way, what do we mean by transport system? Of course, transportation simply means movement from one end to the other. But in case of living things, we are looking at metabolic materials, where they are being produced and where they are being stored. So, but we want to look at transportation in animals. Transportation in animals is the movement of food, water, oxygen to different parts of the body. It comprises of the circulatory system and the excretory system. That is, materials such as food, water, and oxygen, where they are being produced to where they are being needed in the cell, from their circulatory system to the excretory system. The circulatory system helps in the transport of nutrients such as glucose, amino acid, and fat to different parts of the body. Of course, the circulatory system helps to carry some of this manufactured food, and in the form of glucose, that's carbohydrates, or protein in the form of amino acid, and fats in the form of fat and oil to different parts of the body. Every cell receives and absorbs nutrients through the circulatory system called the blood. That is, the blood is the vehicle that carries some of this material from one point to the other. The excretory system is responsible for the removal of waste from different parts of the body. The body has the ability to produce and to excrete this material. For instance, we have carbon dioxide is a waste material to us. How are these materials being excreted through the body? It is through a vessel known as a medium known as the blood, where these things are being transported. Every cell releases its waste material into the blood to be carried over to excretory organ for removal. What are the needs for transportation? Why transportation? The need for transportation in living organisms include transport is necessary for every cell of the organism to obtain all essential materials such as oxygen, water, nutrients required for its metabolism. It is also necessary to remove and dispose of metabolic waste such as carbon dioxide and water. Waste materials are not supposed to live in your body. They are not supposed to remain in your body. They endanger the body cells. So how are they being able to move from the point where they are being produced from the cell to the outside wall of the body? These materials can be in the form of carbon dioxide, that's a gas, can be in form of water, or even urea. Urea is simply the end product of protein in your body. Number two, why transportation? In plants, transport is necessary to move mineral salts and water from the soil through the roots to the various parts of the plant, such as the stem and the leaf. Of course, we have the plants. Let's take this as a plant. This is the
Hello, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more content relating to this towards your examination success, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, okay? Because we'll be releasing loads and loads of beautiful content tailored towards your examination success in one sitting. Now let's get back to the class.
roots, and this is the leaf. This is the stem. This is the roots. So this is the water culture, which contains some dissolved mineral. So there's a need for this mineral nutrient to move from one point to the other. So for instance, water is being moved through a vessel known as xylem. Xylem tissue conducts water up from the soil down to the root, to the leaf. Then manufactured food during photosynthesis. You know, we said photosynthesis is the production of starch. Photosynthesis. So this material are produced in form of starch, and then they need to move to storage part of the body through a vessel known as Phloem. So without the need for transportation, this material won't be able to move from one region to the other. We won't be able to move water, neither will we be able to move manufactured food from where they are produced to different parts of the body. Number 3, need for transportation. Transport is also required to move hormones in plants and animals from where they are being produced to area they are needed. And you know, hormones are endocrine glands that secrete material that helps to move material from one point to the other. They are ductless glands. Then number 4, it's important in the transform of glucose from the leaf and the storage organ to various parts. Like you can see in the diagram, during photosynthesis, the green plant manufacture glucose, and this glucose are not stored on the leaf, but rather they have to move down to the storage organ of the stem. So without the use of transportation, this material will not be able to move down. Materials transported in animals. What are these materials that are being moved from one point to the other? Number 1 is oxygen. Oxygen is being transported from the cell to other parts of the body. Carbon dioxide is also being transported. Of course, like I said, in animal, carbon dioxide is a waste product produced from the cell, and they have to be exhaled through the nostril. Then we have urea. This is the breakdown of protein, which constitute poison to the body. They have to be taken up. Then excess salt. Excess salt are being taken out of the body because they pose danger to the body. So this even water, we have excess water through sweat, through evaporation, transpiration. Water is being eliminated. Amino acid, these are produced as a result of digestion of food, which is breaking down of protein. Then vitamins too, sugar, fatty acid, and glycerol. All these are material that needs to be moved from one point to the other. Even hormones, material, mineral salt, and then antibodies. These are material that are needed to be moved from one point to the other. Material transported in plants, that's an animal, but let's look at the plant. Manufactured food, just like I referred, food are being manufactured through the process of photosynthesis. So they are not stored to where they are produced, but they are being moved to the storage organ in the body. Other material transported in plant are oxygen, just like in animal, nitrogenous waste, amino acid, glucose, lipid, auxin, that's like hormone, then mineral salts. Media for transportation. When we say media, what are the forms in which this material are being transported? What are the vehicles that transport this material? Number 1, in all organisms, a liquid or fluid is the medium of transportation of material. Generally, there are 4 major media of transportation, which include number 1, cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the medium in which unicellular organisms carry out the movement of material. When we say unicellular organism, we are looking at organisms like amoeba and paramecium. This is used as the medium of transportation of material in lower unicellular organisms such as amoeba and paramecium. Materials such as glucose, amino acids, just like we mentioned above, water, carbon dioxide are transported from one part of the cell to other through the cytoplasm.
Hi, if you are preparing for an exam, this channel is for you. We have loads of content for you which we'll be releasing in coming days and weeks. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe to this channel so that as soon as we are releasing those videos, you'll be notified by YouTube and you can have success all in one sitting.
All this material are being dissolved in the cytoplasm and then being carried from one point to the other. Cell sap, that is plants. Cell sap is a concentrated solution found in vacuole of cell, which serve as a stronger solution. As a result of this, the cell sap is able to transport water and dissolve mineral salt from the soil through the root hair to the upper part of the plant. So all this material that are being transported in the plant, they are being dissolved in solution called the cell sap. We call it cell sap in plant, we call it blood in animal. Then in blood, this is a powerful medium of transportation material in most animals, especially vertebrates. Vertebrates are organisms that have backbone. The blood in its fluid state is able to move large materials over the entire body through the blood vessels like the arteries, veins, and capillary for where they are produced or obtained to the point of destination. So in animal, what the medium is, the medium that carry all this dissolved material, carbon dioxide, water, glucose, and things like that, is the blood. So when this blood moves, of course we have blood in virtually all parts of the body. So as the blood moves, they are carrying this material from one end to the other. Then the last one is the lymph. This is one of the media of transportation in higher animals. It is fluid, similar in composition with the tissue fluid. Although it contains extra lymphocyte, there is no red cell present. It returns fluid to the main vein through an opening in the subclavian, that is left jugular vein below the neck. An example of lymph vessel is a lateral, which transports fatty acid. So when we say lymph is a colorless medium. Unlike the blood that is being colored, lymph is just a colorless material which contains absolutely 90% water, where all these material are dissolved and they are being transported. They are not colored because they don't have pigment, just like we have in the blood. Let's move ahead. Now, we have looked at transportation in animal. Let's consider plants. How the plant carry out the movement of this material. To circulate water, essential nutrients, excretory products, gases within the plant for various purposes, transportation in plant is necessary. Before material can be moved from one point to the other, glucose can be moved, we also need transportation system in plant because they are living things. Water and minerals are transported to various parts of the plant by the function force. There is a force that's responsible for movement of water across the plant. Water and minerals are transported to various parts of the plant by a function force. Transportation in plant takes place in the vascular system. When we say vascular system, we mean the supporting system. The vascular system comprises of the xylem, phloem, and the cambium. The vascular system are normally conducting tissues. Without the use of a pump, water moves up the plant against gravity in tube made up of dead xylem cells. Can be explained by only the transportation process. What I mean is this: you have the water on the roots in the soil, but there must be a force that is responsible for conducting this water up. Without using a force, that is being controlled by what we call transportation pool, and they are being conducted through the xylem. Just like I said, the xylem conducts water while the phloem conducts the manufactured food. In plants, there are pipe-like vessels through which water and mineral can enter the plant. These vessels are made up of elongated cells and thick wall. A group of cells called the conducting tissue form a tissue that performs a specialized function within the organism, there we have what we call vascular system. Vascular system or vascular tissue. These are otherwise known as conducting tissue. They are formed. For instance, if you have the bark of a plant or bark of a tree, they are in this form. If you're able to get a transverse section of a tree, they are like this. If you cut this way, that's the transverse section. If you turn it this way, you see some conducting cell through the help of a microscope. We have something like this. This is the back of the tree. This is the back. Then here we have what we call the xylem tissue. Xylem. Then between the xylem and this we have the cambium. Then here we have the phloem. Here. So the central point here is what conducts the water. While the one before this one is the xylem. The xylem conducts the flow. So this is the shape in which you find it. So the three vascular system, which is the cambium, xylem, and phloem, are in this location.
Hi, if you are preparing for an exam, this channel is for you. We have loads of content for you, which we'll be releasing in coming days and weeks. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe to this channel, so that as soon as we are releasing those videos, you'll be notified by YouTube and you can have success all in one sitting.
Water is absorbed by the root hair and undergo cell-to-cell movement by osmosis until it reaches the xylem. Just like I said, the cell, there are a number of cells in between these plants. So as the cell touches one another, the water is being conducted from one point to the other until you see this water being absorbed through the pressure force. The xylem is also composed of elongated cells, like the phloem. However, the xylem is especially accountable for transportation of water. Just like I said, what the function of the xylem does is only transportation of water from the roots. It also plays a vital role in the case of dissolved substances from the root hair to aerial part of the plant. So as the water is being conducted from the soil up to the leaf, it carries some material, some dissolved nutrients along with it that are needed by the plant. The transportation process in this tissue is in one direction. Commonly, the xylem occupies the central part of the vascular system. Just like I said in the diagram, the central part of the vascular system is dominated by the xylem itself. Now, the next vascular system is the phloem. What does it do? It is responsible for translocation of nutrients and sugar, like carbohydrates produced by the leaf, to areas of the plant that are being stored. The xylem is responsible for bringing down the manufactured food from the leaf down to the storage ground. These carbohydrates or protein or lipid, they are stored in the body of this plant. So how are they being moved from the leaf where they are being manufactured through this? They are being conducted through the phloem tissue. Alright, before we go today, we want to look at the blood vessels. Of course, only animal uses blood. And when we say blood vessel, these are the channels through which the blood flows. The blood flows through narrow pipe-like structure in the body known as the blood vessels. The blood vessels the blood vessels transport food, oxygen, and water throughout the body. There are three types of blood vessels. Of course, we have vessels that are able to carry this material we mentioned above. Material to be transported include water, include hormones, include oxygen. So there are three types of blood vessels. We have number one, we have the arteries. Number two, we have the veins. Then number three, we have what's called the capillaries. We need to define the function of each of these. The arteries is responsible for conducting blood away from the heart. These are blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood from the heart to all parts of the body. When we say oxygenated blood, that is the vein, the arteries, carries the blood directly from the heart. The heart is the pumping organ, is the organ that is responsible for pumping blood. Of course, you expect the pressure of the heart to be higher because that is the pumping engine there. So the artery has the characteristics of a very thick walled vessel that can sustain the pressure of this vessel because they are coming directly from the heart because of this high pressure. So an exemption to this mechanism is the pulmonary artery, as it is responsible for carrying the oxygenated blood from the heart to the lung. What do I mean? The artery carries blood away from the heart.
Hi, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can do so in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And don't forget to hit the notification button.
So we define the artery as the vessel that transports blood away from the heart. We said the heart is the pumping organ that exerts a pressure of the blood. An exemption of this mechanism is the pulmonary artery, meaning all vessels that takes oxygen away from the heart are called artery. So exception of this is the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery, instead of taking blood away from the heart, they take blood, deoxygenated blood, back to the heart. Or they carry what's called deoxygenated blood. What's the difference between oxygenated and deoxygenated blood? Oxygenated blood is always red in color. They carry fresh oxygen binded with hemoglobin. And they take this oxygen around the cell until they are being used. When they are being used, they return back to the cell as carbon dioxide as used. So they become colored. They become dew. So we said exemption is the pulmonary artery because they are responsible for carrying deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lung. Arteries have relatively thick wall than the vein. Why are they thicker than the vein? Because that's where the pressure starts from. They conduct blood directly from the heart away from to the body. Then we have another vessel called the vein. The veins is the opposite, they act in opposite direction to the artery. While the artery carry the blood away from the heart, the vein carry the blood towards the heart. These blood vessels that carry deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body to tissue of the heart. Veins are made up of relatively thin wall compared to the arteries. The wall of the arteries are thicker because of the pressure, but the wall of the vein, they are what? Thinner, or they are lighter because they don't carry too much pressure. Rather, they carry blood, they return blood to the heart. The pulmonary vein is an exception, just like we have the pulmonary artery. They act in opposite direction. So because they carry oxygenated blood from the lung to the heart. When the pulmonary vein carry blood towards the heart, the pulmonary artery carry blood away from the heart. Then the last one is the capillaries. The capillaries are the blood vessels that act in between the vein and the artery. They are in this form. Why the artery is like this? Arteries, we have the capillaries, in between the arteries is the capillaries, then we have what's called the veins. So they are in this format. Why this is thicker, they become narrower here. As they get down here, it's thicker, become thicker here, wider, they become narrower here. That's the capillary, and they become wider here. This is the format in which it is. So blood flows from here, from the heart, through what? The arteries. and they become narrower when they get to this point, which is the capillary, and then they open up here. So of course you expect the pressure to be reduced. The pressure is high here because they are very, very tiny but thicker vessel. But when they enter through this place, the pressure becomes more reduced, you know, until they go through the vein. So what we are saying in essence is that while the artery takes blood away from the heart, the capillary takes blood in between the vein and the heart. Then the vein takes blood back to the heart. Then these are the thinnest blood that are in direct contact with the cell. Can I come again? Capillaries. These are the tiniest blood vessels that are in direct contact with the cell. It serves as the most important task of the circulatory system. That is the exchange of material between the circulatory system. You can see blood moves between the arteries and the vein, but in between is what we call the capillaries. So exchange of this material, what are these material? Oxygen, carbon dioxide, water are being exchanged through this thing. So the capillary is very, very tiny, meaning that is the point at which material can easily flow from one end to the other. So today we've been able to look at transport system in plant and animal, and I hope we are good for today's class. If you have any question, please leave a comment. Thank you.